Stop. Don't scroll. There is a record that was just made in heaven about what you have endured in silence this week, and I was sent to deliver the exact answer to you. Your nights have become a battlefield where rest feels impossible. It is the dimly lit bedroom at 2 a.m., the sound of a tear hitting your pillow and your folded hands trembling in the dark. There is a physical weight on your chest every time their name is spoken, a spiritual fatigue that drains your energy and leaves your soul completely exposed. Every time you try to communicate, an invisible wall of misunderstanding rises from nowhere. Every time you feel closer to them, a sudden, unexplainable conflict pushes you miles apart. You try to make the right choices, but the peace you find is quickly replaced by a whisper of doubt echoing in your mind, trying to convince you to give up on this connection before it even fully manifests. And then there is the waiting. It is that empty chair across the table, the sudden, heavy silence during a conversation, and the emotional erosion that slowly eats away at your hope. Your family doesn't understand the depth of this unseen bridge, and you are left carrying the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection while feeling entirely alone. But in the next few minutes, you are going to understand exactly what this invisible relational sabotage is, and why the enemy's envy is targeting your spiritual connection. I will reveal the mechanics behind this silent courtroom of heaven, exposing the exact strategy being used to keep you disconnected and spiritually drained. You will also receive a precise, actionable tool of coverage that you can execute today to break this cycle. We are going to tear down that wall of misunderstanding and establish a spiritual sentry over your life to protect what God has ordained. By the time we finish, a decree will be released over your divine pairing, sealing the purpose God placed on both of you. If you feel the weight of this, please stay until the end. Don't break the connection early. Have you ever felt that this heavy silence between you two, this waiting that is happening right now, isn't just human, but spiritual? What if this waiting is a sign that there is a battle against the purpose God placed on your lives? While many try to explain this as just bad timing, few realize that the enemy doesn't attack you just for who you are, but for what God is building between you. But what if the real reason for this spiritual fatigue is exactly in what you haven't been able to see about your own life? Now think with me. What if everything you went through until today, the tear hitting your pillow in the middle of the night, the heavy silence during conversations, and the physical weight on your chest, is the answer to that question you've carried in silence for years? Why is it so hard to just be happy with the one I love? It was while seeking answers to this that I found this digital book called The 7 Spiritual Reasons Why the Chosen Ones Face So Much Envy. This book is not just reading, it is a spiritual key of understanding, a tool made for those who want to see beyond appearances, stop the emotional erosion, and understand why the enemy's relational sabotage operates against those who carry a mark of God. Several chosen ones here on this channel have already felt the call of the spiritual shield, but haven't made the decision to download the digital book yet. Download it right now. It is available in the first pinned comment, but beware, this content might not be available for long. It reveals spiritual reasons that many people prefer to ignore, because they expose what exists behind the sudden distance, the synchronized arguments, and the unexplainable doubts. Don't wait for the next wave of relational anxiety to seek what you already feel you need to understand. Click now, download your copy, and find out why the enemy's relational sabotage couldn't stop what God started in you. And if you're among the first to download, come back here and leave it written. Amen. This will be your act of faith, and today God might show you the reason why this silent emotional erosion has been attacking your life. There is a shadow being cast from the invisible loom in the heavens, a covering that stretches like wings over the golden threads of your prayers. When you step into that secret place, the sabotage loses its legal authority, and the whispers of doubt are silenced by a divine decree. You are the intercessor. And about exactly this, about the tear hitting the pillow, about the heavy silence, about the physical weight on your chest. There is a 3-minute seal that fits exactly inside the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away and isolate yourself from them, and I will show it to you later. Tuck it away in the back of your mind. And beyond our digital guide, Chosen One, You have here another way to strengthen this message that arrived at your house today, and to make it reach more and more chosen ones like you. We don't receive a single cent for each word I deliver to you every day on this channel. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we also keep a voluntary donation link open, right below the digital book, in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits in your hand today, any sum your heart points to. This is what keeps our channel standing. This is what makes the next message reach another person who needs it, exactly the way you need it today. I'll see you there, chosen one. And if you need to leave before the end of this video, this shield is already waiting for you in the first pinned comment right down below. But I ask you to stay until the end, because without the context that comes next, the seal doesn't work with the same strength over this divine connection. I haven't told you the most important thing yet. Close your eyes for a second, or at least look away from the screen. Don't worry about the images, just listen to the sound of my voice. I need you to focus entirely on what you have been feeling behind closed doors, because the spiritual sentry is about to expose what the enemy thought was completely hidden. I'm going to describe 5 things to you. If I am right about at least 3 of them, you and I will know why you stopped here. You have noticed that every time you try to communicate something important, an invisible wall of misunderstanding rises out of nowhere. It happens on a random Tuesday afternoon. A simple text message is suddenly twisted, and a peaceful conversation escalates into an unexplainable conflict that pushes you miles apart. You're left staring at your phone, feeling a sudden heavy silence that isn't just human miscommunication, but a targeted spiritual interception meant to drain your emotional energy. You have experienced moments of profound peace about this connection, only to be ambushed by a whisper of doubt echoing in your mind at 3 a.m. The enemy waits until you are spiritually vulnerable, slipping into the silent courtroom of heaven to accuse the purpose God placed on your lives. This isn't your own anxiety speaking, it is a calculated relational sabotage trying to convince you to give up before the unseen bridge is fully built. You have watched your own family and closest friends fail to understand the depth of what you are waiting for. They sit in the same room, offering reasonable advice that only amplifies your isolation, completely unaware of the spiritual fatigue weighing you down. And it culminates in that specific moment, a phone screen lighting up with a message, your heart racing, at exactly 11:11 p.m., accompanied by an overwhelming sense of spiritual urgency that no one else around you can comprehend. And about that phone screen lighting up exactly at 11 p.m. with a message that made your heart race that you recognized just now. I already left the shield waiting for you in the first pinned comment. If you need to leave before the end, it is there. But stay, because the name of what is happening to you hasn't been spoken yet. You have felt a sudden warmth in your chest, an unexplainable peace, followed almost immediately by an intense physical weight when their name is spoken. It is a biological reaction to a spiritual reality, a sign that the golden threads of your prayers on the invisible loom are being actively contested. The enemy cannot cut what God has woven, so he throws dust in your eyes, creating an illusion of distance to make you stop interceding for them. You have spent nights in a dimly lit bedroom, feeling the tear hitting your pillow, with folded hands trembling in the dark. In those solitary hours of secret intercession, you carry the heavy weight of waiting for this divine connection, feeling the full brunt of the enemy's relational sabotage. You are acting as the spiritual sentry, standing in the gap for someone who might not even realize they are being spiritually covered by your silent, relentless prayers. Now take a second. How many of these 5 matched? 3? 4? 5? If at least 3 matched, you already know that this message is for you. This is not a coincidence. It is a divine appointment designed to break the silent emotional erosion that has been attacking your life. The shadow being cast from the invisible loom is real, and the protection of the Most High is ready to stretch over the golden threads of your prayers. There is a profound difference between surviving the relational sabotage and actually stepping into the secret place where the enemy has no legal authority. The tears you shed in the middle of the night were recognized, and the spiritual fatigue you have carried is about to be replaced by a divine decree. What God is building between you two requires an intercessor who understands this architecture, someone equipped to tear down the walls of misunderstanding. Before I show you the instrument of coverage that will shield what is at stake here, I need to give you the name of what you carry, because the shield only makes sense after you know the name of the target. And there is a word in Hebrew that defines exactly this divine pairing, a word that recontextualizes everything I just described to you in the last few minutes. There is a word in the original Hebrew that changes everything you thought you knew. The signs that just hit you didn't hit by chance. The tear hitting the pillow in the middle of the night was recognized. The seal of this hour you are crossing was seen. Because between being chosen and being covered there is a gap that the envious one knows better than you, not because the anointing was revoked, because the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away arrived, and the relational sabotage began. And I'm telling you this because I've seen it happen. I saw it with intercessors who were exactly where you are now, staring at a phone screen in silence at 11:11 p.m., carrying the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection. I saw the secret intercession turn into a sudden, heavy silence. I saw the unexplainable peace turn into crippling anxiety. I saw the tears in a dimly lit bedroom turn into a physical weight on their chests. And not because you aren't meant to be, because the envious one entered the unseen bridge between you without anyone noticing. When I use this word, envious one, I am not using a metaphor. I am naming what intercepts your prayers, twists your words, and drains your emotional energy. And you already know this. You just hadn't given it a name yet. Every time you try to communicate, an invisible wall of misunderstanding rises from nowhere. Every time you feel closer to them, a sudden, unexplainable conflict pushes you miles apart. Every time you find peace, a whisper of doubt echoes in your mind, trying to convince you to give up on the connection. Before I name the shield against this specific relational anxiety, bring your thumb to the first pinned comment right down below. Don't click yet. Just let your eyes get there and recognize that it exists. Do it now. It was exactly looking for this answer that I arrived at this digital book called The 7 Spiritual Reasons Why the Chosen Ones Face So Much Envy, a material that reveals the invisible root of this relational sabotage, exposing how the envious one operates and showing exactly how to blind this spiritual fatigue. Don't wait for the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away and isolate yourself from them, to seek what you already feel you need to understand. It is in the first pinned comment, right down below. Touch the link now, secure your copy, and discover why the enemy's relational sabotage has no legal authority to stop what God decreed. And if you are among the first to download, come back here and leave it written in the comments, Amen. This will be your declared sign of faith, because today God might finally show you why this silent emotional erosion has been attacking your life. The spiritual sentry is not built on human logic. It is built on a specific word. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. When you step into that secret place, the sabotage loses its legal authority. The intercessor, without learning this architecture, becomes a target for the enemy's relational sabotage. The digital book that is in the first pinned comment was built upon this architecture. It is exactly what you need to survive the targeted attack against the golden threads of your prayers. Less than a rushed coffee on a Tuesday morning while you wait for their text. Less than a movie ticket for a Friday night you spent overthinking. Less than a late-night fast food order you ate while feeling spiritually drained, because they were choices made out of emotional fatigue. And here, facing something that can change the spiritual connection between you two for the next 12 months, you will think twice. Not because it is worth less. This hesitation has a name. It is the exact whisper of the enemy trying to convince you to give up on the connection, dressed as financial reasonableness. But deep down, it is the voice of the one trying to keep you disconnected. And it has a 7-day guarantee. If you open it, read it, and it doesn't serve you, send an email and get your money back entirely. No questions, no process, no judgment, especially when what is at stake is the coverage of your relationship during the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away. Don't let the shadow being cast from the invisible loom keep you unprotected. The risk is entirely on us, but the decision must be yours. Several chosen ones here on this channel have already stepped into this covering. Marcos, 62 years old, an intercessor who had spent decades waiting. He wrote to me on a Thursday night, feeling completely spiritually drained, blaming himself for every sudden heavy silence in his connection. He read the digital book between Thursday and Friday, sitting at his kitchen table at dawn, and sent me a message saying that the invisible wall of misunderstanding was finally broken. Joanna, 54, a mother who was exhausted from the relational sabotage. She was convinced that the unexplainable urge to pull away was her own fault, carrying a physical weight on her chest for months. She applied the covering on a Tuesday afternoon while holding her phone in her living room and noticed that the whisper of doubt echoing in her mind completely vanished, restoring her peace. Pedro, 49, someone who felt entirely isolated in his waiting. He had spent weeks staring at an empty chair across the table, watching the emotional erosion eat away at his hope. He accessed the digital book on a Sunday morning right after waking up and finally understood the mechanics behind the silent courtroom of heaven, witnessing the spiritual fatigue leave his life. Maybe 3 hours from now, you will be exactly where they were, staring at a phone screen in silence, without knowing how to cover this connection. Every unexplainable urge to pull away without this understanding is an open door for relational sabotage. Every silent night without knowing the name of what is zivug is a victory for the envious one. Every sudden argument without the 7 spiritual reasons why the chosen ones face so much envy is a loss of your divine connection, and your family doesn't realize it either. And your children don't realize it either. And this silent emotional erosion keeps arriving, with the same smile, sitting in the same chair, leaving through the same door. And before I hand you the next word that is still coming now, because it is still coming and it is heavy, I need to make a second request. We don't receive a single cent for each word I deliver to you every day on this channel. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we also keep a voluntary donation link open, right below the digital book, in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits in your hand today, any sum your heart points to. This is what keeps our channel standing. This is what makes the next message reach another person who needs it, exactly the way you needed it today. I will wait for you there, once again, chosen one. But do not leave now. The sealing is not over yet. It is the exact name of what is happening to you right now, a word that came from ancient Hebrew and crossed 3,000 years to find you in this specific night of waiting. The answer is hidden in the silent courtroom of heaven. Stay. The word is zivug. Listen. Z-I-V-U-G. When the world tries to explain this, they use empty terms like soulmate or twin flame, reducing a profound spiritual architecture to a simple romantic fairy tale. They talk as if it were just about finding someone who likes the same things you do. But this is a severe error that leaves your connection entirely exposed to the enemy's relational sabotage. The true meaning of zivug goes far deeper than human compatibility. It defines the spiritual uniting of 2 souls, a divine pairing orchestrated and decreed in heaven long before it ever manifests on earth. When God establishes a zivug, He is not just bringing 2 people together, He is creating a spiritual fortress. This is exactly why the enemy attacks it with such viciousness. He is terrified of what happens when the 2 of you finally stand on the same unseen bridge. This sudden distance and these unexplainable arguments are not signs that you made a mistake. They are undeniable proof that your zivug carries a weight that terrifies the envious one. This is why the heavy silence settles over your dimly lit bedroom at 2 a.m. The spiritual fatigue you feel isn't just exhaustion, it is the friction of heaven's decree clashing against the enemy's desperate attempts to sever this connection. Your secret intercession, that tear hitting your pillow, is the exact mechanism that sustains the zivug when the physical reality seems to be crumbling. To truly understand the weight of this spiritual battle, you must look at Joseph of Egypt. Joseph was the most envied and the most elevated man in the Old Testament, and this is not just a title in a history book, it is a biblical record, an irrefutable proof signed by God Himself, showing exactly how the enemy operates against those who carry a divine decree. Joseph received his prophetic dream while he was still a child. Because of the call on his life, his own brothers envied him in complete silence. He was betrayed and sold as a commodity by the very people who should have protected his purpose, thrown into a pit and dragged into Egypt. Just like the invisible wall of misunderstanding you face every time you try to communicate, Joseph's divine connection to his destiny was violently attacked by a relational sabotage meant to isolate him and make him feel entirely forgotten. But the envy didn't stop there. It followed him into exile. He was falsely accused, enduring years in a dark prison without any guilt, carrying the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection to manifest. While he was sitting in that cell, it looked like everything was lost, just as the whisper of doubt tries to convince you at 3 a.m. that your waiting is useless and your prayers are unheard. Yet, it was in the middle of that isolation that God's exact timing was triggered. Because he maintained his spiritual sentry, Joseph was called to interpret the Pharaoh's dreams. In a single day, he was elevated to the second in command over all of Egypt, granted the applied practical wisdom to navigate 7 years of incredible plenty and 7 years of devastating famine. The enemy's attempt to break him only positioned him for his divine appointment. Ultimately, the man who was thrown away by his brothers became the very instrument of their salvation. He stood in the gap for those who tried to destroy him, and Jesus cited him as a type of the rejected Messiah who saves his own. The enemy thought he was burying Joseph, but he was actually planting him. And Joseph didn't take this practical wisdom to the grave. He left it registered with a surgical precision that has crossed 3,800 years without losing its edge. The man who was sold out of pure envy left the exact map for those who are being envied and sabotaged today. And this map, this precise architecture of protection, is exactly what you are about to receive in the form of an instrument. Imagine a massive invisible loom suspended in the silent courtroom of heaven. Every time you pray for them in secret, and every time they silently pray for you, a brilliant golden thread is woven across this divine apparatus. It creates a beautiful, indestructible tapestry of your connection. The enemy sees this, and he knows he possesses absolutely no legal authority to cut the threads that are already woven. So what does he do? He cannot touch the loom, so he throws dust directly into your eyes. He creates illusions of distance, sudden arguments, and heavy silences to make you believe the connection is fading. You look through the dust and think the tapestry is unraveling, but it is simply under a targeted, blinding attack. The threads are intact. You just need to clear your vision so you don't stop weaving your prayers. This is why stepping into the secret place of the Most High is not a suggestion. It is a matter of spiritual survival. When you abide under the shadow of the Almighty, that shadow acts as a divine shield over the invisible loom, blocking the dust the enemy tries to throw in your eyes. The covering of Psalm 91 becomes the exact sentry that stands guard over your secret intercession. But knowing this architecture is only the beginning of your defense. What you have seen so far is just the outer edge of the battlefield where your prayers have been fought over. The deepest truth is yet to come, and it has your name on it. Let me stop for a full minute and put everything you just heard into simple words. No poetry, no metaphor, just the facts. The heavy silence, the synchronized arguments, and the sudden distance you are experiencing right now are not normal relationship issues. They are targeted spiritual interceptions. The enemy is actively trying to break the divine connection between you two before it fully manifests on earth. That unexplainable peace you feel, followed immediately by a crippling anxiety, is the friction of your secret intercession clashing directly with this relational sabotage. Your waiting is not in vain, and your prayers are not bouncing off the ceiling. The invisible loom is real, and the golden threads are being woven every single time you refuse to give up. And here is who you are inside all of this. You are the spiritual sentry standing in the gap, holding the line in the silent courtroom of heaven, while the other person might still be trying to understand what is happening to their own heart. You are the one carrying the spiritual weight. Now, what comes next is the exact architecture you need to protect what God has placed in your hands, the very mechanism that ensures your prayers are not intercepted. The first is the intercessor. This is the one who carries the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection while feeling entirely alone in the physical realm. You are the one who wakes up at 2 a.m. with a sudden warmth in your chest, driven by an unexplainable spiritual urgency to pray for them in secret. The spiritual implication of this role is massive. The intercessor without a complete shield becomes a lightning rod for the enemy's relational sabotage. Because you are actively weaving the golden threads on the invisible loom, the envious one will constantly throw dust in your eyes to make you doubt your own sanity and stop praying. The second is the spiritual sentry. This is the one who recognizes that the sudden distance and synchronized arguments are not human coincidences. While others see bad timing or emotional incompatibility, you see the exact moment the envious one enters the unseen bridge to cause division and steal your peace. Your spiritual implication is absolute vigilance. The sentry must remain awake when the connection is under heavy attack. If you drop your guard out of sheer emotional fatigue, the invisible wall of misunderstanding rises freely, and the relational sabotage gains legal authority to operate and create chaos in your relationship. The third is the weaver. You are the one who absolutely refuses to let the silent emotional erosion destroy the beautiful tapestry of your zivug. Every time the whisper of doubt echoes in your mind, trying to convince you to give up, you choose to stay and fight. The spiritual implication here is relentless endurance. The weaver knows that the enemy cannot cut the threads that are already decreed and established by God. Your only real vulnerability is believing the illusion of distance, stepping away from the secret place and abandoning the covering of the Almighty. When you finally understand which of these three you are, the sudden arguments stop feeling like personal failures and start looking exactly like what they truly are: targeted spiritual attacks against your divine pairing. You stop questioning your own sanity, you stop asking why it is so hard to just be happy, and you start operating with the applied practical wisdom of someone who knows exactly how to navigate this unseen battle in the heavenly realms. If this confirmation is what you desperately needed to hear tonight, subscribe to this channel right now. Don't let the envious one isolate you from the prophetic voices that remind you of your true spiritual authority. Subscribe right now to keep this sentry active in your daily life. This brings us to the exact framework you need to apply when the relational sabotage hits your life. I call this the decree of the unseen bridge. You will execute this specifically when that physical weight hits your chest, when the sudden distance paralyzes you, and when the invisible wall of misunderstanding rises out of nowhere. It requires 3 precise, non-negotiable steps. First, do not react to their silence or their confusing words. Step entirely away from the physical conflict and immediately close your bedroom door. Second, declare their name out loud in the silent courtroom of heaven, stating firmly that the envious one has absolutely no legal authority over this zivug. Third, command the dust to be cleared from your eyes and from theirs, verbally covering the entire connection with the indestructible shadow of the Almighty. You will know this has worked immediately. Within 3 minutes of sealing this decree, that crippling anxiety trying to convince you to give up will be entirely replaced by an unexplainable, profound peace. That sudden warmth in your chest will return, and the heavy silence will lose all its spiritual weight, leaving the enemy completely paralyzed. And this tool I've just placed in your hands, it's a door. But there is a giant difference between opening a door and living in the whole house. What you just received covers the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away and isolate yourself from them. A punctual coverage, but what is in the first pinned comment covers the 7 reasons why the enemy's relational sabotage chose you as a target, not randomly, not by accident, but because something specific in you activated the zivug over your divine connection. It shows the 3 patterns he uses to reach your relationship, and it gives you the complete ritual of coverage that you execute before every unexplainable urge to pull away for the next 12 months. You have just been declared the intercessor, but the intercessor without a complete shield is a lightning rod for the enemy's relational sabotage. The seal you received now is real. What is in the first pinned comment is what turns this seal into armor. And while you hear this, someone like you has already opened the link and is on the 3rd reason. I am not rushing you. I am telling you that the link is still there, exactly where you expected to find it, waiting for the same decision you are making now. But before you decide, I need to show you what the envious one will try to do against this tool in the next 72 hours. The moment you start operating in what you just received, and this will happen in the next 72 hours, 3 specific things will be launched against you. The enemy knows that a spiritual sentry who has finally recognized the invisible architecture of their divine pairing is incredibly dangerous to his plans. He will not let you stand on this unseen bridge without a fight, so he will desperately try to intercept your prayers before they even reach the loom. The first attack is the "it's just a coincidence" doubt bomb. This usually hits at 3 a.m. The envious one will whisper that this sudden distance and these synchronized arguments are just normal relationship issues, trying to convince you that this spiritual fatigue is all in your head. It is a calculated illusion to make you drop your guard and stop interceding. Your weapon against this is immediate verbal declaration. The moment that whisper echoes in your mind, place your hand over your chest and declare out loud that this zivug is sealed by God. You must physically break the silence of your dimly lit bedroom and speak the truth over your connection, grounding yourself in the promise that he who dwells in the secret place shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. The second attack is the distraction crisis before the ritual. Right when you decide to apply the decree, an unexpected conflict will arise. Your phone will ring with an urgent problem. A minor misunderstanding will suddenly escalate, or a wave of crippling anxiety will wash over you. The enemy creates this chaos specifically to delay your covering, hoping you will forget to establish the shield. Your weapon here is radical, immediate prioritization. Do not answer the phone. Do not engage in the sudden argument. Physically turn your back on the distraction, close the door to your room, and execute the decree. The crisis is an illusion designed to steal your focus. By ignoring it and prioritizing your spiritual sentry duties, you instantly strip the relational sabotage of its power. The third attack is the isolation of the one who sees too much. You will look at your family and friends and realize they have no idea what you are carrying. The enemy will use their reasonable advice to make you feel completely alone in this secret intercession, trying to convince you that no one else understands this physical weight on your chest. Your weapon is the profound awareness that you are not standing alone on this bridge. There is an entire army of chosen ones facing this exact same emotional erosion right now. When the isolation hits, immediately remind yourself of the testimonies you heard today, recognizing that this spiritual fatigue is a shared battle mark of the intercessor, and refuse to accept the lie of solitude. And about this isolation you recognized as real. But I need to tell you one thing now. There are 4 more tactics besides these 3. I can't open them all here, not for lack of time. For density, each one needs its own page, with the exact counter-weapon, with the specific verbal declaration that neutralizes the attack the moment it arrives. And while I don't deliver these 4 tactics here, the envious one knows them all. All this is mapped inside the 7 spiritual reasons why the chosen ones face so much envy, together with the exact sequence of coverage applied to the sudden distance and synchronized arguments. You will need this, not tomorrow. You will need this tonight, when the enthusiasm fades. You will need this tomorrow morning when the memory of this message loses its color. And you will need this the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away. The link remains in the first pinned comment. I am not rushing you. I am warning you that the second day is harder than the first, and the enemy's sabotage knows this better than you. But before you even think about clicking, I need to show you what you yourself will do against yourself in the next 72 hours. Because the worst obstacle is not the envious one, it's the voice you confuse with your own. That obstacle is the fear of seeming ungrateful. You will look at the people around you, at your family who offers their reasonable but blind advice, and a voice will tell you that establishing this spiritual boundary means you are rejecting them. It will sound entirely logical, telling you that if you truly loved them, you wouldn't need to put up this shield. The enemy uses your own empathy against you, turning your kindness into a weapon of relational sabotage. But you need to reframe this immediately. Protecting your divine connection is not an act of ingratitude. It is the highest form of spiritual responsibility. If you allow the invisible wall of misunderstanding to remain, because you are afraid of offending someone's feelings. You are sacrificing your zivug on the altar of human approval. True love requires a sentry, and a sentry cannot afford to drop their guard just to seem polite. Your specific defense when this fear hits is to remind yourself of the stakes. The next time you feel that guilt creeping in, look at the empty chair across the table and remember what it costs to leave this connection unprotected. You must choose the divine decree over human comfort, knowing that covering this relationship is the most profoundly loving thing you can possibly do. And there is one last thing, the one that worries me most of all, that I am going to do with you before this message closes. It is a final prophetic sealing, a collective declaration that goes far beyond anything we have covered so far, and if you walk away and miss this, the spiritual sentry you just built could be left completely exposed to the envious one. Wherever you are right now, stop what you are doing. Plant both of your feet firmly on the ground. Place your right hand over your chest, exactly where you have been feeling that physical weight of waiting, and take a deep breath. Let the silence settle over you, because the silent courtroom of heaven is paying absolute attention to the posture you are taking now. Close your eyes and do not open them until I tell you to. You are stepping directly into the secret place of the Most High, placing yourself entirely under the indestructible shadow of the Almighty. The spiritual sentry is taking its position over your life, and the decree of the unseen bridge is about to be formally established over this divine connection. I release you from the cowardly fear of seeming ungrateful before men, breaking the false loyalty that demands you sacrifice your divine connection just to keep the peace of those who offer reasonable but blind advice. I declare that you will no longer drop your guard to comfort the emotional fragility of people who have absolutely no idea what you are carrying in secret. I release you from the profound shame of what you have been feeling in the dark, breaking the lie that this sudden warmth in your chest is a sign of your own emotional failure. I declare that the tears hitting your pillow are no longer a symbol of weakness, but the exact mechanism of secret intercession that God is using to sustain this zivug. I release you from the voices of disqualification that echo in your mind at 3 a.m., severing the whispers of doubt that try to convince you to give up before the connection even manifests. I declare that the enemy's relational sabotage loses all legal authority over your thoughts, and the crippling anxiety trying to make you step away from the invisible loom is permanently silenced. I release you from the version of yourself that accepted absorbing the arrows of sudden distance and synchronized arguments. Breaking the pattern of carrying this heavy weight in silence, I declare that you refuse to accept the invisible wall of misunderstanding as normal, and from this exact second forward, you strictly refuse to be the spiritual lightning rod for the envious one's attacks. I summon the intercessor within you to rise right now, activating the one who carries the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection while feeling entirely alone. I declare that your secret intercession is covered by the shadow of the Almighty, and every single prayer you weave in the dimly lit bedroom is shielded from the dust the enemy throws in your eyes. I summon the spiritual sentry to take its position at the gates of your relationship, activating absolute vigilance over every sudden argument and unexplainable urge to pull away. I declare you possess the applied practical wisdom to recognize the relational sabotage the exact moment it enters the unseen bridge, never again confusing a targeted spiritual attack with a mere human coincidence. I summon the Weaver to stand firm at the invisible loom in the heavens, activating the relentless endurance that refuses to let the silent, emotional erosion destroy the tapestry of your zivug. I declare you are fully equipped to tear down the walls of misunderstanding, maintaining the golden threads of your connection, even when the physical reality tries to convince you otherwise. With your hand still firmly pressed against your chest, make a verbal decree right now out loud, breaking the silence of whatever room you are in. Say this with absolute spiritual authority. The envious one has no legal authority over my zivug, and I command the dust to be cleared from our eyes. Feel the physical weight leaving your shoulders immediately. The tapestry of your connection is no longer exposed to the enemy's relentless relational sabotage. The golden threads you have woven with your tears and your secret intercession are now sealed under an indestructible covering, And the invisible wall of misunderstanding that kept rising between you two is crumbling into dust right now before the silent courtroom of heaven. But do not open your eyes, and do not say Amen just yet. We are not entirely done, and if you simply drop your guard now, the envious one will desperately try to steal the covering you just received. There is a final instruction you must hear tonight to keep this spiritual shield active and fully operational over your life. Stay with me. I cover that empty chair across your table and the meals you share with your family. The sudden, heavy silence that drops during a conversation and pushes you miles apart will no longer find room to breathe in your home. The invisible wall of misunderstanding that the envious one tries to build in the middle of your living room is now permanently blocked by the shadow of the Almighty. Your physical house is secured against the spiritual fatigue of waiting. I cover your children, your closest friends, and the very foundation of your physical house, the whispers of doubt that echo at 3 in the morning, trying to convince you to isolate yourself from those who love you, lose all their legal authority right now. The emotional erosion that slowly eats away at the peace of your household is severed, and every room in your home is now established as a fortress of secret intercession. I cover your work, the unseen bridge of your daily efforts, and every ongoing opportunity God has placed in your hands. The unexplainable peace you find in your daily tasks will no longer be immediately followed by crippling anxiety or a physical weight on your chest. The envious one can no longer throw dust in your eyes to sabotage your focus, and the golden threads of your achievements are now securely woven into the invisible loom of heaven. I see you. I have always seen you. I saw you in that dimly lit bedroom at 2 a.m., the sound of a tear hitting your pillow as your folded hands trembled in the dark, interceding for a connection that seemed completely lost. I saw the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection crushing your spirit while you felt entirely alone, and I recorded every single one of those tears in the silent courtroom of heaven. I saw you staring at your phone screen lighting up at exactly 11:11 p.m., your heart racing with an overwhelming sense of spiritual urgency that no one around you could comprehend. I saw the sudden warmth in your chest when their name was spoken, immediately followed by an intense physical weight trying to suffocate your hope. I was there standing with you on that unseen bridge, watching you act as the spiritual sentry when you were utterly exhausted. I saw you sitting across that empty chair, trying to make the right choices, while a whisper of doubt echoed in your mind, attempting to convince you to give up on this zivug before it even fully manifests. I saw you endure the sudden distance and the unexplainable conflicts that pushed you miles apart, refusing to stop weaving your prayers even when the envious one threw dust directly into your eyes. I see the silent emotional erosion you have survived. We break the "it's just a coincidence" doubt bomb before it even arrives at your door. We dismantle the distraction crisis before it is launched against the ritual of your secret intercession. We dissolve the isolation of the one who sees too much before it forms a wall around this house and tries to keep you disconnected from your divine pairing. I commission the intercessor within you to never again drop your guard in the dimly lit bedroom. I commission the spiritual sentry to stand fiercely on the unseen bridge and recognize every targeted attack. I commission the weaver to keep your hands on the invisible loom, relentlessly weaving the golden threads of your prayers until the decree of heaven fully manifests on earth. The sentence is spoken, the decree is established in the silent courtroom of heaven, and the shadow of the Almighty is now fully stretched over your life. Do not let the envious one steal the weight of this hour from your spirit. Keep your eyes closed, keep your hand on your chest, and let this peace settle into your bones. I saw you in that dimly lit bedroom at 2 a.m., the sound of a tear hitting your pillow as your folded hands trembled in the dark. Don't open your eyes yet. Keep your hand on your chest. The seal is fresh, and it is exactly now that the envious one will try the first strike. What was sealed here now will be tested the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away and isolate yourself. The envious one doesn't accept without a fight what was just decreed over you, and whoever was commissioned without coverage walks in the open field. The anointing was confirmed in heaven. Now it needs to survive the next unexplainable urge to pull away. The 7 spiritual reasons why the chosen ones face so much envy is in the first pinned comment right down below. not as a substitute for what you received in this message, as a companion to defend what was sealed. Because anointing without coverage rots the next time you feel an unexplainable urge to pull away. And the envious one counts exactly on this unexplainable urge to pull away, to tear down your unseen bridge. Less than a latte you buy to stay awake analyzing their words. Less than a premium app subscription you use to distract your mind from the waiting, with a 7-day guarantee. The risk is ours. The hand is yours. Click now while the decree is still alive in your chest. Not tomorrow, not after the shower, not after talking to someone, because the first person you'll talk to will have a reasonable opinion that will cost the shield of your house. Because whoever leaves it for later leaves it for never. And the envious one already knows this. He counted on later when you received the last message that transformed you. And the one before. And the one before that. This one won't be another one. This voice that whispers now, see it later, decide tomorrow, now is not the time. You've spent enough this week. Need to think better. This voice is not yours. It sounds like yours, uses your vocabulary, knows your excuses, but it is the voice of the one who lost today in the courtroom of heaven and is trying to recover ground before your next unexplainable urge to pull away. Every second that voice gains is a second the decree loses temperature. Click before the envious one speaks louder than the decree that has just been sealed over your head. And now, the final word. If this message exposed the invisible reality of your waiting and gave you the exact name for the relational sabotage you have been fighting in secret, there is a second layer of this spiritual architecture you must understand. The enemy uses very specific illusions to make you doubt your own discernment. Click on the video that appears on your screen right now, and still in this video, chosen one, before I seal this hour with you. I need to make one last request. Beyond the digital guide, if this message touched your soul today in a way that you didn't expect, you have here another way to strengthen this word and make it reach more chosen ones who are completely alone. We don't receive a single cent for each word I deliver to you every day on this channel. As a way for you to give back something of what you receive here, we also keep a voluntary donation link open. Right below the digital book, in the first pinned comment. Any amount that fits in your hand today, any sum your heart points to. This is what keeps our channel standing. This is what makes the next message reach another person who needs it, exactly the way you needed it today. This was my last request. I will wait for you there. I sign this decree with my own name in the silent courtroom of heaven, confirming the complete blindness of the envious one over your divine connection. I say a forceful yes to the absolute protection of the Almighty over your secret intercession, your physical house, and the unseen bridge between you two. Amen, with full intention to the spiritual sentry that now stands guard over your life, declaring that the dust has been forever cleared from your eyes. Send this message immediately to someone who needs exactly the same shield you received here today, someone who is silently carrying the heavy weight of waiting for a divine connection while facing an invisible wall of misunderstanding. And if they want to go deeper, the link to the 7 reasons of the chosen is in the first pinned comment, waiting for them just as it waited for you. It's not a favor from you, it's service, and heaven sees it. It is done. What was delivered here has been delivered. You are not the same person you were when you hit play. Feel this gravity for just one more moment. The next unexplainable urge to pull away can wait 10 more seconds.